we can proceed with the next question. And I invite the participants, in case any of you has any questions, you can direct message me. I am Rubina, and I will see if we have enough time. Then we can also add these questions at the very end. All right. The second question was by Astrid. She asked, what is the difference between natural farming and a food forest?
I think this is very similar with the last question, like between permaculture or the food forest. I believe that it is the same answer is also valid for this question. It is just different ways of taking different paths that one can take for awakening the soil. And it is not one is right or one is wrong, but it is simply one feels maybe closer to one path or the another, and then that all resonates more in one way to another, and then chooses this path and then work through it. So I believe this is the answer.
I think the last sentence you said, I missed it. I don't know, maybe it was my problem of connection. If you can repeat that, maybe.
One can resonate maybe more in one path or the another one, and then takes the street accordingly. Like there is no right or wrong path, but it is simply different paths to awaken the soil, and depends on each of us that have the call in that way. That is the, let's say, that is the way for each person.
Don't you feel maybe that the food forest is something that is really related, like, I don't know, I feel it more connected with trees, whereas natural farming, for what I understood from and saw as well at Farm Shizen, it's something that really applies to a lot of different areas, so to say, of the farming itself, right? Because you have the vegetable garden, you have the fruit trees, and whereas for me, in my head, at least for my knowledge of food forest, this is just related with something that I connect more with the trees. Is this correct? Or
no, also in food forest there are different layers, and there are vegetables and tubers and cereals. Like they also, I think, from a point of view of, if you look in the last point that they arrive, they might seem very similar, I believe.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, so we shall go on with the third question already. Karina, who is our amazing woman from the Netherlands, and she's helping us with the fundraising for the projects in Kenya. She asked a very good question, in my opinion. She actually said to me today, maybe it's not good that we do this question because maybe you have already too many. And I said, no, let's do this because it's actually a very good question that is interesting for everyone, in my opinion. So she asked, can we start our garden already, now in winter or in spring? And what do we need to do? Can we already do something to help the soil for being ready in spring? Or is this doing something and prepare already human ego?
I think the best time to start a garden, it is the present moment. So now we are in winter time and we would like to start today because we feel ready today. So this is the right time to start for this garden. Obviously, we have to respect the timings of the nature. Like we are not in the season of sowing seeds in this moment in most of the part in Europe. So we cannot sow seeds, but if we like to establish a vegetable garden that will be used in the springtime, we can already start now, and that will be laying down a little bit of organic material, and then some mulch material we can lie down on it, and then in the spring months, as it arrives, we will start sowing seeds and transplanting. So yes, we can start in any moment of the year, obviously.
In fact, we started a vegetable garden at your neighbor's place. When was it? Like 2 weeks ago? Like the Sunday before Christmas, was it? No?
Yes, 2 weeks ago, I think.
2 weeks ago. So we basically prepared the vegetable garden, and yeah, after that you can just wait, and when it's the right time you sow the seeds, but we already prepared the vegetable garden together.
Yes.
So yeah, just came to my mind, that's why I said it. Good. So we are going to speak more in detail now about Kenya, about the questions regarding our time in Africa. So the first question about this is, what is the situation in Kenya, especially concerning Maasai and not Maasai communities? So maybe if you can give a bit of perspective among between what we saw when we were maybe in the villages with the farmers, and then what we saw when we were more in the southern part in the Masai Mara Reserve.
Okay, so that, like, as Kenya is a big country and we have been in the different areas of Kenya, there is no one answer that is valid for whole Kenya. But in the areas that we have been, in the first place around Lake Victoria, that we went there because we wanted to meet with local communities and farmers. And then we moved towards the Maasai people, border between Kenya and Tanzania, and they are very different from each other. But in the around the Lake Victoria, although it is more green, there is more vegetation, and there are more rains, still people are not cultivating the land, although they have really, like, everything is ready, like all the materials and land available, and still good rains, yet they are not cultivating. And when you ask them why not, there is not even answer for it. So it is just a little input you have to put, and then they start, as it happened already, like a lot of people now, communities are cultivating. I believe that it will be a good and very important change for them, and it will be very easy also, like from a point of view of compared to the Maasai people's area, because where the Maasai people are located, it is really desert, how we imagine a desert. Basically, they were saying that more than 13 months there were no rainfalls. Animals were dying, even people were getting sick. There were no more rivers passing anymore, and the soil was almost like a cement. So they were very different, but from a point of view of considering the Maasai people, the situation is way more serious, I think, compared to the rest of Kenya.
What I remember when we were in the Maasai people area is that when you were walking on the ground, sometimes you could really see these kind of cuts in the ground, right? Like you could really see the soil that was kind of cut because of all the drought that was there. And then suddenly you had, like, in the middle of nowhere, maybe you had 4 or 5 trees and a pond of water. I don't know how, I don't even know how big, but like that was the only water resource within, I don't know how many square kilometers. This was, for me at least, very, very strong to see. And what I remember, and unfortunately we didn't take pictures of that, was this one river that you remember, we passed by with a car at a certain point, and there were these women that they were doing the washings on the river, but like the color of the water river was like brownish towards, like,
Almost
towards
black,
the black, and like there were literally few drops. I was asking myself, but how can you how can you do the washings, like, because there is no water, so how can you actually do the washings here? And this is actually a stupid thing, because if you think about how important water is, then the washings is actually the least you should maybe worry about. But I really remembered this scene very clear in my memory. And I actually wanted to ask, do you remember when we were in the local communities, we also indeed met some farmers who were already doing some farming.
Yes.
The thing there, though, was that they were just basically cultivating 2 things, right? They were just cultivating the maize and this kale. That's all they cultivate, as vegetables, at least, right?
Yes.
So maybe this is also something that would be great to
Yes,
bring
yes,
there
we
some more diversity somehow.
But this is again the same point, like they could cultivate everything that they eat or they would like to eat, but it is simply they are not cultivating with no answer. Like if you go there and if you grow with them these vegetables, they will do it. They are already doing it. But for them, they are used to live like this, and it seems that they don't even consider that the other vegetables that could grow and they can higher the amount of the variety that they eat.
Mm.
And even the seeds, like after the elections in Kenya, that was last August, the first thing that the new president has done is the forbid the standard seeds, and they are forced to cultivate OGM seeds, GMO seeds, and they are not even able to keep anymore their seeds. But like they are in a very dangerous point from a point of view of hunger and reaching to food. It is already, and it will be even more and more difficult.
Yeah, I think we already went on to the second question actually by what you were saying right now, because the second question is, how bad is the shortage of food, water, and the desertification? So maybe we can add up on this a bit if you feel so, about the shortage of food, water, and desertification.
Well, let's start with food and water. It is simply like we have seen a lot of families and children that they were not able to reach even a single meal in a day. But the ironic thing is that they are living on a piece of land, but they prefer to go onto the street and try to sell something that has simply no meaning. But they could simply stay at their home and then cultivate even a small vegetable garden for their family, and then they could eat. And they have everything for this. Everything is ready. But it is simply that they are not doing. And it is the same thing for almost for whole Kenya that we have visited in the areas. And the rains, access to the drink water, that is also a situation to consider, because where we have stayed, the community, they had the drinking water, like drinking water from a well.
Drinking, wait.
Okay,
Let's
at least
not
they
be
had a water.
too optimistic. At least they had water, but
Yes.
like the grandmother, she had typhus and malaria at the same time, probably because she was drinking from that water. So like, let's not think that it's exactly, it's like having the water here, because it's absolutely not like that. It means having a well, pumping out the water, and then you need to boil it before doing anything with it, because otherwise you might get diseases. This is how it works there. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please go on.
And almost in all the areas that we have been together and visited the Kenya, I never seen a river with a clear water, with a running clear water. It was always brown to the black color in all the water sources, like in anywhere that we have seen and visited. This was really shocking for me, like to see that. And if we talk about the desertification, that you could see in the even in the area of where we call green, which is around Lake Victoria. But as you were moving to the Masai Mara, that was really like, it is the real desert that you could imagine. But even in the other parts of Kenya, it was very visible that people were cutting down the trees and planting sugar canes.
That's
like I don't know, thousands hectares cultivated with sugar canes, which is not even food, and which is not even used in Kenya. Everything is exported to abroad, and while the people in the country is having big hunger.
Can we maybe speak a bit about the hunger as well? Yeah, if you wanted to speak about this, and then I would like also to share a memory that I have from the hunger situation.
So out of Nairobi, as you move out from the capital, already the variety of food that you can find, it is very limited, even in the markets. Like from a point of view of fruits and vegetables, there is like only kale, and almost I didn't see any other vegetable, to be honest, out of Nairobi. And the same as the fruits, there were only bananas available. And as a main dish that they were eating, there were one type of bean, and the cereals, either something like polenta made of maize or rice. So this was the main food that they were eating all the time. Basically, if they are lucky, rich families, they were able to eat 2 or 3 times a day. But there were families that were not able to even eat one meal a day, which is like, even if they are eating 2 or 3 times, it was always based on the same food, which consists maximum of 5 different varieties of vegetable, fruits, or cereals in total.
Yeah, this is for sure true. The fact that they have a very, how to say, not a balanced diet. They are always eating the same things, and probably it's also due to the fact that they are not having a lot of different crops that they are cultivating up to now. And the thing that I wanted to share is when we did the first vegetable garden together at Peace Planet near Kandu Bay. Well, basically this happened not because we organized it, but it happened by itself. So there were a group of people, and we said, why don't we make a vegetable garden? And between probably a few hours, we gathered more than 50 people, and we got all together and we started doing the vegetable garden, okay? The only thing that we were suggested from the family who was hosting us was the following: that we should give the participants some sort of a gift. When they come, they participate, they listen to our teachings, that's how they call it, and then they should go home with some sort of gift by our side, okay? So what we did is that we went to the supermarket and we bought 5 or 10 liters tank of oil to fry, and this flour to make polenta. And at the end of the workshop, every single person who attended this vegetable garden preparation got from us a bit of oil and 1 pack to make this ugali. That's how they call it. And this is to say that these people were so happy that we could find that we could give them this money. They explained to us, the family that was hosting us, that it's a very big honor for them to get some food from us, especially this type of food, because for them it's very expensive. And we are talking about maybe, I don't know, 2-3 euro each of this package of the ugali and the oil. So just to give you a bit a perspective on how dramatic the situation is, especially because if you look at the prices of the stuff in the supermarket, it's absolutely insane. It makes 0 sense because the products are super expensive and the people are earning I don't even know how much. Like really, it's not balanced so that the people can actually afford having a decent life, some sort of worth living life in this sense. This is my memory about it.
So the supermarket prices, they were more expensive than Italy. Like this is, I can really, we could see it, like 1 kilogram of rice, the packaged rice was costing over 5 euro, if I'm
mistaken. Okay, the third question was, how is the situation for the children? Wow, that's a good one.
Well, although they have nothing, but they are so happy, and when they see you, they run to you, they hug you. I have never seen, I think, such a happy children, I have to say, first of all, that they were always outside playing with each other with nothing. But unfortunately, there is, on the other side, you could see a lot of children in hunger, that they were not able to reach, like not even food, but they were not able to reach even a drinking water. And when you see this, like, I think it was one of the point that I was feeling very, okay, we have to do something, like we have to act. This is not possible that these children that with such a beautiful smile on their face and in their eyes, that such a rich looking, they were in such a situation. I think especially the children and the woman, they were really, when you made the eye contact with them, it was really going through your soul and touching your heart.
I do remember when we made again the first vegetable garden, when all these kids came. Do you remember? And they started helping you to move the corn straw. That was a very, very touching moment for sure. And also some other moments when we were crossing this bridge in Migori, the very big one over the river, and we watched down, and the river was very big. Again, the color of the water was not even better that I don't not try to describe it. And you could see these three kids there filling their water bottles there from that water, right? So this I really carry with me, this memory, and very, very strong one. And also I remember at the last family that hosted us, do you remember the small kid, the day we left in the morning? The small kid was taking a shower
Yes.
in the middle of the garden, just with a small bucket of water and throwing the water on himself. Forget any notion of bathroom that you have from Europe, of course. Forget any notion of kitchen that you have from Europe. We saw women cooking in small rooms like the one I am in right now, with fire and without a fireplace, and which means without a pipe that brings out the fire brings out the smoke from the kitchen. So these women were constantly cooking and breathing in the smoke from the fire. It's situations that slowly it's possible to change as well, we think. Yeah, the fourth question is, could natural farming change this imminent famine situation around, in your opinion?
I believe that, like, the name natural farming or permaculture or food forest, it really doesn't matter how we call it, but the situation there needs to change. I think this is something very clear. And if you like to change it with the way that you call natural farming or permaculture or agroforestry, biodynamic, doesn't matter. Important that they are able to grow their own food. Really, like, it doesn't matter how you call it. And in this way of farming, they have this access to prepare their garden already with all the materials available within, I think, already 300 meter, maximum of 300 meter of distance. They have, because their main diet is based on animal, so they have a lot of manure from their cows and a lot of maize straw, which is always available. And they could easily prepare a vegetable garden and plant all their food that they are eating all year long. And being in a tropical climate in most part of Kenya and even in Masai Mara, they can really be self-sufficient easily, like, because they don't even have the off season like as we have. So they can easily grow food all year long.
This is what we observed, what you observed when you were there. And recently we also had a talk with our friend Tracy. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember what she told when you asked her? You asked her how was the aftermath after we left? What happened after we left? Can you please share as well what she answered to you?
Yeah, there were many effects, that it was like a wave in the ocean. She was telling us that they made a vegetable garden in a school and with women in the church. And she was very excited about seeing the seed balls. The seeds are germinating from the seed balls. And she said the sentences. She said, when you teach one family how to grow their food, you feed 100 families, because all community is benefiting from this. Like, they don't have this mentality of this is my garden, this is my way. Like, it is simply they are already living a communal life. So if they see in front of one house that there is a vegetable garden is grown and taken care in such an easy way, they will apply everywhere, basically in whole community, which already is happening now in Kendu Bay area, as Tracy told us.
I think this is very important for who is following us tonight, that they hear this, because actually it kind of already answers the next question. The next question is, what motivates you personally to go back, and what are you planning exactly to do there?
So what motivates me personally, like when I was there in Kenya, and at some point I was talking with Linda, and she's also here today between us. We were talking, and I told her, Linda, I really feel that we should do something here. Like, it is so ridiculous to see everything that is already such a simple way that you can make a little touch and grow food for all the communities, like, but they are not doing it. We should come back here and act. We should do something. This was the, let's say, biggest call. And when we go back, the plan is to visit as much as community possible and then prepare vegetable gardens together. This is the intention.
Well, it is an intention, of course, but it is also a request, isn't it? Because what happened as well, because this is the intention, but something else happened. We already received some requests from people, actually from many people, to please go back there, that they are waiting for you to go back and bring your teachings and prepare more seed bowls and do more vegetable gardens together, right?
Yes. And we will do that. We will go back.
The following question is, what will my money be used for? Because in all this, we just forgot to mention that because of what happened when we were in Kenya, and this episode with Linda that you were reporting right now, all by itself, the Belgium natural farming movement started the idea of making a crowdfunding. So through the help of our friend Karina, we started this about 10 days ago right now, although the kickoff was last Monday. And so this is a legitimate question. How will the money be spent, when the money that we are raising right now?
Yes. So just a little parenthesis here, and I forgot before to mention it. When I told Linda, like I said, Linda, I really feel like coming back here, and we went to sleep, and next morning I wake up and I look at my phone and there were messages from Linda and saying, we are starting the crowdfunding for this movement, and there is already a lady that who sent some money to your personal account for this project, and then she sent me the receipt to him. So it was already started in this way. So apart from that, this money will be used mainly to receive the materials, bring some seeds, because there it is almost not possible anymore to find standard seeds. You have to buy OGM seeds. So it will be used for buying some seeds, gathering materials, and also, as you mentioned before, when we organize a workshop, to give also food to people. I believe that this is also like a like the path of natural farming. At the beginning, when there is big hunger, when the soil is almost dead, we bring the organic material from outside, and then within a few years we arrive to the point of do nothing. And it is the same movement for the people in Africa. We bring them some food, and then slowly show how to grow their own food, and they will start to grow their own food, because they are really lacking even like a plate of food. Like, it can, maybe for us it can be very far away, this idea, but it really is like this in most part of the Africa.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Like, yes, now I have some images coming back from those moments, but I will stick to the next question instead. What was the concrete impact of you going there in December? Did it help? Did it change something? We kind of already answered to this, but if you want to maybe sum it up once again, just very shortly.
Well, for me personally, in my life, it changed a lot of things, and I believe that it changed also many things in the people that we have get in contact and touch their life. Like, I am still receiving every day over, like, I don't exaggerate, over 20 to 30 messages each single day, or different calls from the people that we have met. And just today you had a call also, like they call you from their farm and then show how they prepare the
Yes.
garden, the vegetable garden. And like, you
Yes.
can please share it, how was this experience also for you?
That's true. That's true. Just this morning, before me and you had this brief call, I had Nicholas calling me from his farm. In fact, it's, I think, the third day in a row that he tries to call me very early in the morning, and because we have the jet lag, the difference in time zone, so I never could pick up. But today I did, and he was there in his farm, super happy to finally see me, and he was so happy about making the vegetable garden. We didn't go to his farm, but he did come to us when we made a vegetable garden together, so he could see how to prepare his own. And today he showed me how he prepared his own, and it was beautiful because he really put all the mulching around nicely. But I told him, Nicholas, you need to put more mulching. This is not enough. And he said, yeah, but it's needed more money to buy more materials. So, and I told him, yeah, you know that have organized a fundraising as well. So let's hope that we can come back, and we can also provide for you some more mulching material as well. And not only this, because this was in the morning. Then after 3 hours, Patricia called me, which is another woman who participated in another vegetable garden making. We did not the seed was making that we did together. And we are going to have an interview with her in a couple of days as well. And everybody was just so happy to hear me and to see me. And I'm pretty sure that this is also your experience when people are calling you again from Africa.
Yes.
So for sure, it has impacted my life and your life as well. But also, I feel the other way around. They really can't wait for us to go back. We have actually, did I tell you that the Pastor Johnston, I think I didn't tell you. Anyways, he already said that he has different farmers that are waiting for us to go there and to bring the natural farming at their farms.
Yes.
So yeah, I think I forgot to mention this, but I do it live right now with other people listening. That's absolutely fine. Okay, let's go on to the next question and last one about the Kenya part. So from Florence, she is asking, when will you be going back to Africa again? Are you planning on getting local people to be able to teach and travel the country to continue the work? Are you teaching them to collect their own seeds and create a seed bank as well to share with others for free? And then she also says, I am very happy to see such a beautiful project going on.
Thank you. So we will go back within the next year, but that will be depends on the, let's say, the financial situation. Like, I would like to say one thing: with or without crowdfunding, we go back. So this is not even a question. Like, we will go back to Kenya and travel the communities and show people how they can grow their own food, with or without any support, the financial support from crowdfunding or from the people that are, let's say, helping in this moment. If we have more money, we will be visiting more communities and applying in more areas. If we have less money, we will be visiting less people and less communities, and but still this will be the movement, without any doubt. And about the seeds, we couldn't emphasize so much. We have talked about it during 2 workshops in Kenya, but we couldn't emphasize so much. That was not, we didn't have enough time, but it is that to show how they can gather their seeds for the next year. We didn't really make also example, but this is a very serious situation for them. Like, if they don't gather their seeds already, that they are in very big difficulty. Like, probably when we go there now, go back, it will be either in before the season, growing season, which is the winter months still, a couple of months, or the end of the growing seasons when we finish or selling from the farm, and then towards the next winter. So it depends on the economic situation. And probably we have to bring them some seeds from here, because there you cannot buy anymore seeds. They will germinate next year, and then the other year, and then the other year. So we have to show them and do together how to keep their own seeds.
What I would like to add about this is the fact that the workshops that happened in Africa are a bit different from the ones that were happening around Europe, right? Maybe if you want to just say a couple of sentences on this before we go on to the specific questions, because I feel that it's important also to see how people react differently to what natural farming means, to what natural farming can bring to them.
First of all, the one thing that was very, you could see easily, is that the questions, they were so simple but so much related directly to the farming. Like there were no mental process of thinking, calculating, or planning, programming, but they were very simple and direct questions related to farming. And there were little talkings but more actions. I think they are done with words. They want to see with concrete example. It is not a joke. Like it is not that you go there, you talk to them, and then you go back. Like this has no meaning. It is a very serious situation. They have to find food. They have to grow their own food, and you do things together with them. You don't just go there and explain and go back.
I feel this was the big difference compared to other people that went there to teach, because people in Africa are very used to white people going there and telling their stories about anything, literally. And just because they are white, then they regard them as if they had the truth in their hands, right? Whereas what happened with you is the fact that you brought everything down to the simple level. And as soon as we started doing the things, everybody immediately understood what it was all about. And in fact, the seed balls have already been thrown. People have already started new vegetable gardens without complicating things too much.
Because we have done it together, like we have done in the moment, established together, and they have seen with their own eyes and touched with their own hands. And I believe that is the main reason. Plus, I also don't seem very white, so can
maybe that's also another reason. Okay, let's go on to the more specific question. And the first one is actually from Patricia, the friend that we met when we made the seed balls. Okay, she posted this question on Facebook, and she asks, after my plants have grown and you said there is no plowing needed, how can I plant the plants without being affected by wind breaking them down? Because there is no soil supporting it.
It is not very clear, the question. When there is no plowing, we, like, first of all, when there is a good thick layer of mulch, we simply remove the mulch and then sow seeds or transplant, depends on the season or depends on the intention that we are taking in that moment. And you don't need to plow soil, because after already a couple of months you will find the soil very soft, and almost the first small thin layer of humus it starts to create. So you simply plant your seeds, and if a plant is coming from seed, probably it will establish and develop a very strong root system. It might even not need support from outside. Depends obviously on the plants that you are putting. But still, even if in the case of we transplant and or a plant that likes to be climbed on a structure, then we put the bamboo sticks, and then they hang on these bamboo sticks in case of a very windy area.
I think this answers both the questions that Patricia asked. I will make sure she also gets the answers, because she's not here tonight. Then the second one is asked by Wim. He's asking, how does natural farming deal with wildlife? For example, a deer entering my farm and pruning my just transplanted, not pruned trees, or eating the tasty young sprouts germinated from the seed balls. And this makes me think of fencing my farm. But this seems not natural. What is your view on this?
Well, this is we have to look from a large perspective. We have arrived to the point in South Greece or in South Turkey. There are some areas that after rain, after the rain falls, farmers are going out and washing their trees because it rains acid. The air is so polluted. If the rain stays on the trees, they will start dying. So they have to go outside with the hoe and wash the trees. So how natural we are. First of all, like we have to start from this. But it is what it is. This is the humanity, us. We have taken this way and arrived to this point. Destruction of the wildlife, wild forests, that animals are not able to find food. And in the moment that we plant our garden, they might be present and eating what we call our crops. But the problem starts with the destruction of the wild forest and wildlife. And this is way bigger than a single farmer or couple of farmers or a few people that are taking action. This might be maybe our children or grandchildren. If today we decide to change something, maybe our grandchildren can arrive to the point that they can plant their natural farm without fencing around, because there will be a good equilibrium between wildlife and wild forest. But in this moment, if one is facing such a problem, that was also present in the farm Shizen in Italy, the deers were eating, they were very present and they were eating the bark of the newly planted trees. I couldn't fence the whole farm, but we put small net around the trees to protect them. And for the vegetable garden, that was also...
That's a good story. Go for it.
that was a very big lesson also for me, though. Like, I learned a lot from this experience. So we have simply 3 different vegetable garden. They are maybe 10 meters far away from each other, but they are together basically. And in one field, in one part of the vegetable garden, I had some straw and hay. I didn't know where to put them. They were closing the entrance of the farm. So I took them and I limited the one of the vegetable garden. I didn't fence, just put around the garden like this. And in the day that I limited the vegetable garden, animals started to enter. And I made a question. I said, what should I do now? Which was a totally wrong question. I should have asked what I shouldn't do, what I should stop to do. But I fall in the trap. I said, okay, I have to fence the garden because animals are entering. So we were 3 people, invested 2 days of work, fence the garden in one of the vegetable garden where we limited. Yet still all the animals were continuously entering every day. And the other garden, which is just 5 to 10 meters away, not fenced, not limited, and planted with more varieties of vegetables, none of the animal enter whole the growing season. But in the part that they were fenced, on the vegetable garden that were fenced, all summer there were more animals present inside. So now, as you know, we are taking away the fence and going back from this big mistake that I have done and taking out the fence so it will be free.
Going back to the natural state.
To give more concrete answers to this question, this one has to see accordingly. Like, if you are not able to cultivate because the animals are so much present and they have nothing to eat outside, they are always in your garden, it can be a solution to fence your garden. It can be, but still, in the moment you fence, you are even separating your field from the nature. You say, this is the area that I eat and this is the area that animals should eat. Already the separation starts. Already the duality starts in that moment.
Thank you, Kutluhan. Okay, let's go on with the third question. At our new house, asks Michelle, we have a new garden with soil that has never been worked. It consists mainly of grass. We have now largely removed the grass clumps and intend to manage the garden according to natural farming. We have our own perennials that are varied. Perennials, bamboo, fruit trees, berry bushes, tea plants taken and put in this new garden. The first question is, how to start with this sandy soil in which these plants and trees are now? is there a difference between the vegetable garden and the fruit garden or other parts of the garden?
Okay. So the sandy soil, if one is starting with a sandy soil, it can be very fastening the process to bury a good dead trunks, to find maybe from forest or from the area, if there are some dead trees, fallen trees, you can take these big trunks and bury it in the soil. And this will be the fastest way to recover from, go towards the creation of the organic material and the humus in the soil. And afterwards, a good layer of organic material, if it is available in the area, and then a thick layer of mulch. And this will be the starting way from a sandy soil. And from a point of view of vegetable garden or fruit garden or any other part of the garden, this doesn't exist. Like whole farm is simply your vegetable garden and your fruit garden. Obviously, this depends on also the area that you are starting. If you have 3 hectares of land, this will be very difficult. But if you have half an hectare to 1 hectare, maybe you start in the first year a small part that you might call it a vegetable garden, and every year grow a little bit and arrive to the point within the round of 3-4 years. There you find all around any kind of vegetable that is growing spontaneously. So this separation in the human mind, this is my vegetable garden, this is my fruit garden, it doesn't exist in the from a point of view of in the natural farm. In the first place, when you start, you might point a vegetable garden. You can take a smaller piece and maybe dedicate more to grow vegetables, but we will arrive within 3 to 4 years a point that whole farm is a vegetable garden and whole farm is a fruit garden and whole farm is a cereal growing area. It will be all united and together.
Let's stay in the same topic, which means we stay with the sandy soil. Gerda is asking about the sand ground in southwest Hungary. It is very dry, not much rain, and the water level in the ground is going down for the last 20 years. What to do? Also, there is a lot of insects. There is also arsine in the part of the country, in the soil, in the ground. I think that this maybe was a bit mixed with the Dutch, so the main question is about the water.
Okay, sandy soil and no rain, it is really the way to a serious desertification, and it is very quick. It is quicker than the clay soil and no rain, or clay soil and another situation. Sandy soil and no rain, it is a serious issue that one has to act as quick as possible. And the real solution will be to bring back to the life the soil, awaken the soil. Just to make an example, if we have 2% of organic material in 1 hectare of a farmland, and if we can increase from 2% to 3%, that means just 1% more organic material in the soil, this 1 hectare will be able to hold over 100,000 liters of rainwater in each year. And if we keep on this movement over 3 to 4 years, that means that it can increase around 3 to 4% of organic material. End of this process, that we are talking of 3 to 400,000 liters of rainwater will be held by the soil, by the land itself. So that means that we don't need to even irrigate anymore. This will take a few years of serious dedication, but one can arrive there by acting seriously. And one should act, in this case, as quick as possible.
Thank you, Kutluhan. We have another question by Wim, and he says, Mark Shepard, an American farmer in regenerative agriculture, has sown his fruit trees already for a long time. After sowing the trees, he uses his stun method, which means to shear, total, utter neglect. as a way of natural selection of his seedlings. Is that also a practice natural farming uses to grow and select seedlings?
Well, this is a natural selection that is done by the nature. You can mix all kind of seeds, that natural seeds that we can access, and then sow them in our field and let the nature decides. If they are strong, they will be able to grow. If they are not strong enough to grow, they will not be able to grow. And this is also valid for transplanting. One might think of transplanting trees. That is fine, with a good thick layer of mulch, and leave them in the natural state. If they are able to survive pass whole summer without having the drought problem, they will be able to grow. If they are not able to do it, they will die, which happened also in the farm Shizen. You have seen there were around 10 to 15% of newly planted trees, they were dead because whole summer I never irrigate them. Said who was able to survived, and the rest simply died, and they will be replaced. So this was also a kind of natural selection.
And I feel that this question and answer that you just gave connects directly with the next one. Heidi says, I have a small backyard in the middle of town with no direct sunlight. I would love to hear from Kutluhan what seeds make sense to try.
If there is no direct sunlight, in this case, let's say the easiest thing that we can grow, considering that we are in the middle of town, all the leaf vegetables. All the vegetables that we are eating the leaves, they can easily grow without any direct sunlight, and even in 100% shade in this case. And all the vegetables that we are eating, the fruits or the tubers, they might require around 6 hours of sunlight in the growing season. So in this case, it is very convenient to grow the vegetables that we are eating the leaves. And there are also some fruit trees that can be grown in this condition, maybe as bushes, some bushes like ribes, the currant, black currant, red currant,
yes.
and lamponi,
Raspberries.
some berries. They will produce more if they would have a bit of sunlight, but still they can grow and produce some food even in this condition. Or like a fruit, as a fruit tree, it can be a asimina tree that is called in Italian banana di montagna, the mountain banana tree. That is it is pau pau. It is in English language, it is called. It is like a fruit very similar to mango, and it has a taste of banana and papaya. And I believe that in Belgium it can grow very well, this tree, or in the Netherlands in the case.
Asimina triloba.
Yes, pau pau tree.
And last but not least, Wim is asking, it is clear that nature, due to different reasons, is out of balance in regions like Belgium or the Netherlands. Plagues of, for example, voles, which is an underground mice, are increasing. Where should we start to bring back harmony in our fields and nature again? Should we attract more predators? Should we make ponds for more variation of insects, or should we just sow the right plants? Or should we do all at once? Is there a first step?
There is only step, and first step or last step is to dedicate the soil, increase the soil fertility. As the soil awakes, all the predators arrives naturally, and it will find its own balance. It will grow the right plants. The nature will sow exactly the right plants that needs to grow in that moment, in that field, and the right animals will arrive in the right moment. And all this, it is really one simple way, is to awake the soil, to regenerate the soil, but not looking at one animal and then the predators of that animal. We could do it, but then this animal that we bring as a predator will become a problem, in the parenthesis problem, in the long run. And then we can bring the predators again. So there will not be any end for this situation. But the point is just to dedicate ourselves to the soil fertility and let the nature find her own balance.
Thank you very much, Kutluhan, for answering these more detailed questions. I would like now to share the screen because as far as these questions are concerned, the best thing maybe to do if you have time is to follow one of the workshops that Kutluhan is giving in different places in Europe. And so I will just share my screen so that you can see the next workshops where they are going to be. We have the Rete Agricoltura Naturale in Italy, and to find out where the next workshop are gonna be, you can follow the Facebook page that looks like this, Rete per l'Agricoltura Naturale. Right now, we still have not published the calendar for 2023, but we are going to do that very soon. Then we are also going to be in Spain soon. The 11th and the 12th of March, we are going to be in Bullas, which is in the province of Alicante. And this workshop is going to be organized by Evi and Matthias, which are two friends who developed this website, which is called In Line with Nature. You can find more information in this website here. Oopsie. And then we have, of course, Belgium and the Netherlands. You can always refer to Linda as far as these two countries are concerned. She's publishing always on her profile the different information for registering in the different workshops. There are going to be already 6 or 7 planned for the upcoming year. So Kutluhan is going to be traveling a lot towards these two countries. And right now, there are these workshops that are still opened for registration. The first one that still has some spots available is going to be 15 and 16 of April in Denderhouten, near Antwerp. And you can contact directly Cinderella at this email address. Or again, you can find this information in Linda Robben's profile on Facebook as well. In May, on the 18th and 19th, there will be a workshop with Kutluhan in Rust at the first natural farm in Belgium, founded by Sandra, whom you can contact at this email address. And soon also the workshop in the Netherlands will open the registration. So in case you want to join that, I recommend that you add Linda Robben as your friend so that you can see as soon as the registration opens, you're going to be notified by her. Last but not least, we're going to go to Hungary in September. On the 9th and 10th of September, we are going to visit Marco and Maria from Harmony Center in the south part of Hungary in Abelgate. And they still have not published anything about the workshop, but you can contact them through their website, which is harmonycenter.nl. I think we are good to close the call. It feels like we had many different topics that we touched together. We spoke a bit about the natural farming, more on a general perspective. We spoke about the experience in Kenya, and we also tried to answer more specific questions. So, Kutluhan, thank you very much for taking the time to do this together tonight, and to take the time to answer to all the questions of the participants. We are going to make some more interviews in the next few days with other people that we met in Kenya. In case you want to follow these interviews, we are going to publish them in the Facebook page that is that we created for this purpose, which is called Sowing Seeds to Desert, and also in the same Telegram group, which is also called Natural Farming Sowing Seeds to Desert. So in case anyone wants to be added there, you can contact me directly, and I will make sure that you are added to these groups. Do you want to add anything? Do you feel complete, Kutluhan?
Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here and sharing this hour together. And I hope we can also see each other in the real life and look at our eyes and talk. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for your time. Thanks everyone for being here tonight with us. Good night. Bye bye.